gonna be good tonight with homemade cornbread. Hey y'all, welcome back to Harmon Homestead. Guys, today I'm going to do a very quick Are You Prepared video, and I want to talk about pantry staples. I have a list here, everything that I want to talk to you about. I have done another video on foods we buy to save money on groceries, but I want to talk to you about just stuff that is a good idea to have in your pantry in case there is any shortages. At minimum, just to keep you from going to the store so often. Guys, rule number one, only get foods that you're willing to eat. Don't go buy something that you don't want to eat or you've never had or that you don't foresee eating, okay? Rule number two, you need to use this food, okay? You don't need to let it sit here and never touch it. Put it to use. Cook with it. This is all for handmade, homemade cooking. Now, if you have to go buy, pre-processed foods, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times that'll just save you time so you don't have to cook that night, okay? This is just stuff that we do personally, okay? So, number one, salt. We have salt in our pantry. We keep salt, we keep sugar. That is two things you need to keep. Now, as far as spices, I'm not going to go into that. That's pretty much a personal preference, how you see, but I will tell you we use cinnamon, onion powder, garlic powder, and minced onion. Continuously. For baking, that has you covered. For meats, dinners, that's good, okay? Okay, now this is pretty much per taste. Here in the South, we eat cornbread all the time. I always have cornmeal on hand. Now, this stuff you can buy in bulk. You can put it in buckets, you can seal it. We just put it in the freezer if we have a lot, but we have deep freezers, so that's an option there. All-purpose flour and self-rising flour. Guys, I have made self-rising flour. All you do is add, I believe it's baking powder to all-purpose to make self-rising, but my biscuits just do not turn out the same. So, my personal preference is I keep both in stock. The main thing is flour, okay? I go through so much all-purpose flour because I bake continuously. My husband's birthday is today. I baked him a birthday cake. We do that continuously. I made homemade yeast rolls. Flour is continuous in this house, flour. That's what we use. Speaking of that yeast, get a jar of yeast. I use the jar Fleshman's yeast instead of the packs. It saves you money. It's expensive, but you can put it in the fridge and it'll last a long time if you do a lot of baking. Baking soda and baking powder. Guys, these are things not that you're going to eat if a hurricane hits or anything like that, but it's stuff to cook with, okay? And it's great to have it on hand. Every pantry should have just the basic staples for day-to-day life, okay? Coffee. If you drink coffee, coffee. I do. Tea. I always have tea in the house. Always. I buy things in bulk if the price is better, and that's what I keep. Here's something else, guys, and I get it on sale every now and then. Mayonnaise. You can make your own, but it won't last as long. If I see it on sale, I will buy 5 jars of it. I use it for deviled eggs. I use it for a ton of things. Cakes that call for it, a ton of things. Put it on some chicken, bake it. It's delicious. We use a good bit of mayonnaise. Bouillon. I buy the powdered base. You can get whatever, the cubes. Guys, if you throw that in some soup or stew just with vegetables that you have, you're good to go. That's your seasoning, and it's a cheap way to get out of trying to concoct some kind of seasoning mix. Beef and chicken. I like those too. Everybody knows this. Dried beans is high in protein. It will keep you full. A lot of times we just like pinto beans and cornbread with a slice of onion. That's just what we like down here in the South. Beans. That's good to go. Rice. We eat rice a good bit. And guys, I have gotten fell in love with this. It's called Dixie Lily, and it's yellow in a huge container. Yellow saffron rice. I've tried other brands. There's nothing as good to me personally. That may be a southern thing down here, but Dixie Lily yellow saffron rice. It's delicious. We like brown rice too. I just keep rice on hand. Bake some chicken legs with some rice. Do something like that. Put it in soup. It beefs up your soup. Soups, guys, this is the time of the year, especially girls. Get in that kitchen and make a crock pot dinner. You won't have to stand over the stove all day and just throw a bunch of stuff in the cabinet together and make soup. That's how gumbo come about. Things like that. And you're using things out of your pantry. It's easy. Just dump some cans together and let it ride in the crock pot. That's how we do it. Pasta, we make our own. But if you make your own, you need flour, oil, egg. Now, we don't keep eggs. There's no way really to keep eggs. We have fresh eggs. So, and this is more pantry, non-perishable items. Now, I do have to keep buttermilk, milk, butter, cream cheese sometimes, as far as refrigerated stuff. But otherwise, we don't buy anything refrigerated. And cheese. I've told you before, dairy, we're suffering on bad because we don't have any source of dairy here on the homestead. Honey. Honey is a good one. Guys, I love apple slices with honey over it. Honey and tea. Honey and a hot cup of tea. Just honey. I've made a honey cake. Honey drizzled over muffins that I cook. It's good to have. And I like it when I get sick. I love honey tea and something else. Vinegar. You need apple cider vinegar and plain vinegar. I like to clean with plain, and I will put apple cider vinegar in my cooking, things like that. Shelf stable, long time here. Oil, vegetable and olive. Now, I use Crisco for things like biscuits, where it is solid form oil, but we do keep oil on hand. Peanut butter, I use it not every day. It's kind of rare, just if I get in the mood for it, but we have it as shelf stable. Crackers, we make our own, but I still buy saltines occasionally. Cocoa powder. If you bake, just get cocoa powder and you've got it covered, guys. That and vanilla extract, that kind of gets into your spice cabinet. You can make so many things with that. Confectioner's sugar, I do recommend that. If you bake heavily, you do icing, you'll need that. Guys, vegetables, canned vegetables, go buy them if you can't grow them. Things like that to put on the shelf. Now, we can all of ours, so I don't buy any vegetables, but I will tell you, a good way to think of this, if you're prepping to have, and what's helped me, you get confused on what to get. And a lot of people will tell you, you need to go out and get canned spaghetti, and you need to get this, that, and the other. And I've tried to just get staples that I can cook, but I still like a few of the other things that are ready to go if I need to literally open up a can and heat it up. I like having both. It does not hurt. A lot of people will say stock your pantry, but they don't say to get all this stuff. They say to go get the pre-processed stuff. I would have a mixture depending on the situation that you're in. But if you remember being a kid, and well, I did, we always gave like Thanksgiving donations for the hungry. We would do canned foods, non-perishable items, vegetables. We'd always send corn, green beans, things like that, like a little care package. Things like that, put it in your pantry. If you can't grow it, things like that, that's non-perishable. And here's kind of some off-the-wall stuff, guys. Last but not least, hard candy. That is good to have. It's good to have on hand. People don't talk about that. Anything sweet and ready to go. If you need something sweet really quick. Now, a lot of people say jam, jelly. Guys, I've got hundreds of jars of muscadine jam, jalapeno jelly, things like that. Kool-Aid jelly, I did a video on that. I've got it stacked to the wall now in my dining room. That's why I'm having to stand on this side of the wall. So, I'm not going and buying that. But, if you can't make it, go get it, okay? And stash it back. That, peanut butter, and some bread, and you've got a sandwich right there. You don't have to cook. I love that part. You don't have to cook if you don't have electricity, things like that, and it's a quick snack on the go. But hard candy is good to have if you got it. If you're coughing, you know, I like a peppermint if I'm coughing. I like things like that just to have hard candy on hand, okay? People don't think about that kind of stuff. Juice. If I ever get sick, I want juice or either some kind of electrolyte solution. Guys, it doesn't hurt to have this kind of stuff on hand, put back in your pantry, bottled water, and last but not least, lemon juice. I use that a very good bit. If you do not open it, it's shelf stable. So things like that you can put on your pantry, and that's all we cook. That and then my meat in the deep freezer, and then all my canned vegetables. So I continuously rotate that stuff. The only thing that I didn't put on the list that I use is pasta sauce. I use that. I'll throw it in soup. I'll make pizza. Guys, everything I just told you, besides cheese and toppings, you can make a pizza out of this. You can make soup out of this. You can make anything out of what I just told you. You can make a cake out of this. You can do anything. That's what I like to stock up on, especially if I see a sale, because I use these items every day. That's how we prep our pantry, okay? That's what we've got in our pantry. Now, we've got other things, and we'll tell you, last but not least, dehydrated foods. I love it. I have dehydrated lemon slices, oranges, limes, apples, bananas, things like that you can't really necessarily go and buy and keep shelf stable. You can go get like little fruit cups with the sugar. I like the little dried fruits to snack on. I'll throw lemon down in my water, my tea, sweet tea even. I'll throw a dehydrated lemon down in there, a lemon slice, and then it tastes like lemon flavoring. It's just kind of a garnish, but I have dehydrated so much with the dehydrator. Pineapple, all of it is stacked up in mason jars. We'll eat it as snacks. It's a little time consuming to do the prep, just to cut it and then put it in the dehydrator, and it's shelf stable for months. That's things to think about. I would highly encourage getting a food dehydrator and keeping these snacks on the shelves. So in your home, that's what we keep on our pantry shelves here at the house, and that's what we use, and that's the types of foods that we stock. We stock a lot of sugar, we stock a lot of flour, basic items that I use every day, but I still think it is just fine to go out and get a packaged meal or something, just a canned good that you can open up with a can opener and eat for supper that night. That, you know, a can of soup, things like that. If you catch it on sale, go get it. You know, it's fine. There'll always be a need for it as long as you eat it. All right, guys, follow along. We got a lot coming out this week. We'll see you next time on Harmon Homestead.